everyone out in YouTube land and subsequent social media lands. Welcome to an all-new video. In this video, we're going to be talking about a new movie that just got released on Netflix about a week or so ago, and is a sequel in a long-running line of films that started in 1974. So we're going to get right into that. Before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on this video and the other videos I put up. As always, people, if you enjoy my content here on YouTube, definitely check out my other social media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, where I pretty much post on a pretty regular basis, so definitely check that out. As always, people, let's get right into this! So welcome one and all to an all-new video. So like I was saying before, we're going to be doing a review of a new film that just got put on Netflix about a week ago or so, and is a sequel to a 1974 film that has been considered a horror classic for many years. And that happens to be a film known as The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh yeah, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh yeah. So The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022, or actually it was filmed in 2020 and didn't get released till this year, but still is basically, like I said, a sequel to the 1974 film, supposed to be a direct sequel that shows basically where Leatherface is and what he's been up to, basically. But this film is just a really interesting film. It had a lot of potential. I know a lot of people have hated it. I know a lot of people have said horrible things about it, that they laughed at it, they thought it was horrible. People stopped it like a few minutes into it, some people said. Some people have said that they watched half of it and stopped it and just thought it was horrible. But overall, I thought this was a pretty decent film and enjoyable at that. Now, this film happens to be directed none other by a gentleman that goes by the name of David Blue Garcia. Yeah, David Blue Garcia. Yeah. So David Blue Garcia has directed a few other things, but this is really kind of his second big major release that he has actually directed. Now, this was produced and by Fede Alvarez, who did the Evil Dead remake and other subsequent horror films recently that were huge hits. And David Blue Garcia, as he's called, is, a pretty decent director. I thought that he did a pretty decent job. The only thing I thought that was bad about what they did with this film is the casting. Once again, another casting issue, I feel. But overall, I thought David did a great job of directing this film, giving us some really great gore, giving us some really good, practical effects for the gore factor. Very similar to the, 74 film. Very similar to a lot of the classic 80 films that use practical effects to give us that gore factor, or those awesome elements that happen in the films, which I thought they did a really good job with. And of course they use a little bit of CGI to help things along, but overall I thought that he did a good job of giving us this really decent film. And I just thought that he had a good eye for what we were looking for, too, because it stayed pretty true to, the original 1974 film, or even following the steps of a lot of the other sequels that they've made. And, he kept that great horror element of what the Texas Chainsaw Massacre has been about, and gave us a interesting film that, had great potential, but the acting just is what killed the film. But overall, I thought he did a really decent job. Now, another film he directed, I have not seen it, but I heard many good things about it. That's kind of the reason why he got on the radar to become the director for this film. Is a film called Tejano. Yeah, Tejano. Yeah, and this is not a Spanish film. It's actually an English-speaking film, and is basically about this guy that gets into trouble, and he's basically got to get himself out of it. It's pretty much what the film's about. And I thought that, I've heard a lot of good things about it. A lot of people enjoyed it. They saw really great potential in his directing ability in this film. And I believe that is the reason why, he got picked for this film, because they thought he had a pretty decent eye. And like I said, overall, he had a great eye for this film. Just the casting was really bad. I'm going to keep going back to that casting element. The casting was so bad in this film. That's why this film was so horrible. Other than that, the actual film itself was actually pretty decent in its entirety, and pretty well done And I thought that, David did a decent job of directing it and giving us a decent sequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. So this film has a very interesting cast. A lot of these people, some of them are known, a lot of them are not. A lot of them, this is kind of like their big first feature film. Some of these people, they've done other feature films, but this is, kind of like their first kind of starring role type of deal. And overall, like I said previously, the casting of this film just was not on point. There were some people that are definitely better actors that were in the film, but they could not carry the film alone. So to start us off in this cast of this film is none other than the main kind of character that is the lone survivor from the first film, and she's supposed to return in this film. Even though the original actress that was in the first original film actually passed away, this lady was casted to take over her role. And that, of course, is the actress known as Olwen Forever. Yeah, Olwen. Wow, what a name, Olwen. I have no idea what ethnicity that is, but that is a really unique name. And that's hard to say, Olwen. O-L-W-I-N. Very interesting name. But Olwen, I thought did a pretty decent job in the film. I thought she was definitely one of the stronger candidates in the film. And, she didn't do really a lot of justice for the original character, but at the same time, it still was enjoyable to have that character back and kind of try to get her redemption for what happened to her, friends in the original 1974 film. But overall, I thought Olwen did a pretty decent job, was interesting, and definitely a decent addition to this film. Another film she was actually in that I thought she was pretty decent in is a great Nicolas Cage film that came out in 2018 called Mandy. Yeah, Mandy. This movie is an interesting film. It's very bizarre, very out there. People love this film or they hate this film. I am in the middle of it. I don't completely hate it, but I don't completely like it. It's kind of a hate-love relationship for me. But I thought Olwen was an interesting character of that cult in that film. And I thought she did a really good job of portraying that character and giving us a really overall great performance in the film. If you haven't seen Mandy, definitely check it out for Olwen's performance. She was actually really decent in it. But like I was saying, overall, Olwen was really decent in this film. She did a pretty decent job. And overall, I thought that she was enjoyable in the film. If you haven't seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre yet, definitely check out Olwen. She was actually pretty decent in the film. So that brings me to the next actress I like to talk about that was in this film. And that is none other than the actress known as Miss Elsie Fisher. Oh yeah, Elsie Fisher, woo, Elsie Fisher. Yeah, Elsie Fisher, you might recognize her from a few things over the years. She's a child actress. She's just becoming of age, and she has really kind of cemented herself, in, film with the few things she's already done, and seemed to be a really decent actress from what I've heard. Now, unfortunately, I have not seen anything else she has been in, but one of the films that she wasn't in that was considered a huge acclaimed film was the film that came out a few years back called 8th Grader. Yeah, 8th Grader. So she's actually the main character in 8th Grader, and from my understanding, she did an amazing job. She was nominated for awards. She was considered a top acting youth at the time and all that kind of stuff, and that film got a lot of praise, and she did a really good job of her, and it did a amazing job that was very award nomination worthy. And hearing that and reading about that and stuff and bringing that into this role in this, she definitely was the better actor of the two girls that are kind of the main girls in the film. And she definitely brought some of that acting ability to her role, but she still felt very over-exaggerated and definitely wasn't the greatest performance I thought she could do, but at the same time I thought that she did an overall good enough job to make it entertaining, make it enjoyable, and did a decent job to keep me entertained and wanting to watch the film. Overall, I thought she did a pretty decent job. Not the best, but definitely an okay job. If you haven't seen Elsie in anything, definitely check out the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. See what you think and see what you thought of her acting in this film. The last and final actor I'll be talking about that was in the film was the other actor I thought that wasn't too shabby in this film. And that, of course, is none other than the actor known as Jacob Lattimore. Yeah, Jacob Lattimore. That last name, Lattimore, I like that. It's really cool. But anyways, Jacob, I thought, did a pretty decent job in the film. I enjoyed his character. I enjoyed what he brought to the table, and I thought that he was one of the better actors in the film. And I just enjoyed what he brought to the character and what he did, and just, I thought that he was a pretty decent addition to that film. Now, another movie that he was in that I really enjoyed him in, I thought it was one of his best performances, is, of course, the great movie that came out a few years back that's a part of a trilogy of films that's based off of books called The Maze Runner. Yeah, The Maze Runner. He was absolutely awesome in this film. He was so good. He was a great addition to that cast of all those characters that are involved in the maze. And just his acting ability in that film just really showed. And showed how, you know, realistic and how you feel and how he just makes you feel for him and all that kind of good stuff. And just, he really brought to life his character very well, and I thought it was very enjoyable and just really greatly acted. If you haven't seen The Maze Runner, check out Jacob in it. I thought he did a really decent and really great job in the film. But overall, like I said in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I really enjoyed his character. I really enjoyed his performance, and I thought he was one of the better additions to this film. And he made it very enjoyable and made the film enjoyable too as well. If you haven't seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, definitely check out Jacob in it. He was actually pretty damn good in it. So what is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre about? Well, basically, the film is basically, it's supposed to be almost 50 years later since the first film ended. And basically, this group of teens comes to a town in Texas where Leatherface and the last surviving member of his family are living, and he basically goes on a killing spree. And it's basically up to these two main girls to basically stop Leatherface and escape the town. And it just is a really great concept. I really enjoyed the concept. Overall, like I said, I thought the movie was really well done. I just thought the acting in the film and the casting was just not done very well. The other main actress that plays the older sister of Elsie Fisher's character was so horrible, so overacting, and it just did not play the character to T, and it just felt so like it campy is good for horror films, but this was even worse campy. This was really bad acting campy, and I just was really disappointed with that. But overall, I thought the film was a pretty decent film. I enjoyed it, and overall, I really enjoyed all the killing scenes and all the action, and just overall, it was a decent addition to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, film franchise. Definitely worth a watch. I would give this one 6 out of 10 Golden Movie Boxes up. It definitely is worth a watch. But, this is just my opinion. If you don't think that, definitely check it out for yourself, see what you think, and, that's how it is. Other than that, I think it's a halfway decent film. Not as bad as the critics have make it out, but definitely the casting was not done very well. Once again, like I said, casting was not done well. And I just think that it could have been casted a little better. Overall, decent film. So that's it for this movie review, guys. Always thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Also, thank you for subscribing. And if this is your first time here, or you have been here before, don't forget to check out any older new videos you might not see mine yet. As always, people, if you enjoy my content here on my channel, definitely check out the awesome links down below, either to help support the channel or show some love for the channel, either by going to my awesome Patreon page where you can become a patron and get extras, all kinds of cool stuff, outtakes, bloopers, get to pick what I do next, all that kind of cool stuff. So that's something that interests you. Definitely check that out too, people. As always, if you enjoy horror films, such as this is a horror film, definitely check out the Horror Pack, where you can get great horror films right to your door every month for a great low price. So definitely check that out too, people. As always, catch you in the next one.